Well, here we are, book 10 already. Can you believe it? Book 10? Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina KRS TINA. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy stuff going on here. And we've got some Hatfields and Mccoys going on here. We've also got some serious treason going on here. We got so much stuff. I don't even know where my so I started with my spreadsheet of cast characters and then just gave up because there were just so many. And it wasn't sure who was really, I know my core. I know my Ursula is my heroine and Hugh is her husband, and there are things I've been waiting that I thought was going to happen 2 books ago. And I was like, oh, well, it didn't happen in this book, so it's going to happen in the next book. Well, it hasn't happened in the next book neither. So, I don't know. It might happen in here. But right now, all the things I've been waiting for haven't happened yet. I keep waiting for this stuff to happen. And we got to deal with the Hatfields and McCoys first. And it's just good grief. It's revenge over the book before the book. So I'm trying to most of this, and this is the first one that does it. This entirely takes place at home for Ursula. She's not going off anywhere. She's not traveling anywhere. This entire thing takes place at home for her. And they can finally convince her she wants to wait till Meg is 17 to get her married. And everybody in creation is telling her, let them get married now. Now is the time. So they decide, all right, she can get married. So they're busy with wedding preparations and making the guest list, and they're doing all this stuff. And in the midst of all this, and I hope I can find it. I know I won't be able to find it. And I did write it down, but those are on my notes, and I didn't print out my notes. So it's just going to be bad for me. But they're talking about the dowry, they're talking about the guests, they're talking about all the different people they should invite. I'm surprised there's no seating chart. So let me see if I can find it. There is something going on here. All right, now remember that in the last book, she was doing this thing for Mark. She was trying to find out if who really killed Mark's dad. And wait a second. I've got a visitor here. If you haven't seen my little video of my couch potato here, she got extra couch potato time the other day. And she wouldn't leave. So anyways, where was I? Oh yes. So she was doing this thing for Mark. And she was trying to prove that Mark's father didn't commit the murder that he was accused of before he committed suicide. Shit. So you came back. Yes, ma'am. So he wanted her to prove that his father didn't do this murder. So in the course of the investigation, she goes sent off looking for a painting. In the olden days, they didn't have hotels and stuff like that. If you went to the country, you had to stay at a person's house. So they're going door to door or estate to estate. Hey, look, we're looking for this picture. We heard it was handed down, blah, 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 blah. And in the course of investigation, they ended up in the Umberlands, and they find the painting they're looking for. But the enemy also finds them and goes, oh, we know who she is. She's half sister to the queen. The queen would do stuff for her. If we ransom her off, we got something good going there. Yes, ma'am. So, but things worked out in Ursula's favor, and she didn't have to worry about that. However, there is consequences. There is consequences. Yes, ma'am. What are you doing? What? What? She gets this letter. She's in the middle of preparation. She's in the middle of this wedding stuff, right? To Miss Ursula Stannard, bastard sister of the usurper and heretic Elizabeth, and enemy to the true Queen of England, Mary Stuart. Greetings. In the North, greetings is a word with another meaning. In the North, to greet means to wail and weep. In that sense, I wish you many greetings and long lasting until your death. When in the North, those who are faithful to Mary Stuart and to the true religion rose to fight for them, and met with so fierce a resistance from the usurper's forces, it was largely through you that the last hope of turning the tide in our favor was lost. Because of you, my husband is now a prisoner of the heretics who have so much influence in Scotland, and I fear they will sell him to Elizabeth. Because of you, I had to flee Scotland, riding hard, and I was with child. My daughter was born in Aberdeen, far from her home. She was never seen her father, nor has he seen her. All right, wait a second here. Let me see something. So, where was I? The daughter. Now she and I are exiled in Burgess, dependent on the charity of the King Philip of Spain for money on which to live. I see no future for us. I hold you to blame, you and your manservant Buckley, who between you destroyed both my hopes and my dignity. I have the right to vengeance. It is the only hope of joy that I still possess. You and he have done as much as your vixen of a sister to keep our sweet Mary from her lawful throne. For Queen Mary's sake, I have placed a bounty on your head. There are those whom I gladly reward if they bring you down. King Philip will pay the reward on my behalf. He has promised. This woman is writing letters to everybody. If you do my bidding, you will be rewarded. I wonder what happened with all those people in history, in real life. If obviously this has to have been done. I don't know to what extent, but I'm seriously thinking that this may have occurred at some point. And I wonder what happened when all these people didn't get paid, when this didn't happen, when it didn't come to fruition. And I sort of kind of wish Elizabeth had gotten married, but she doesn't. Oh yes, Mr. Stannard, if you thought that here in exile I have no claws that can stretch out to reach you, you are wrong. I know those who will act for me gladly and without question. Soon trouble and dread will overtake both you and your servant, or is he your lover? When they have wrung the last juices of hope and happiness from you, death and damnation will complete my vengeance. Anne Percy, Countess of Northumberland. And they bring Gladys into it. If you don't know Gladys, Gladys is her companion servant. They rescued this lady in the one of the early books from a witchcraft charge. Recently, she was charged again with witchcraft. She was headed to the hangman when Elizabeth pardoned her for Ursula. Then, in the course, the people that are fighting or doing Percy's business, chores for her. The two families have been at odds. The Cobfields and the Ferrisses. They've been at odds at the dawn of time, and they can't. The children are friends, but the parents aren't friends, and the kids are not allowed to meet with the other kids, and they can't stay full 9 yards. And at one point, it gets to the point, and I guess I'm jumping ahead here a little bit, but there is one point when there's supposed to be an arranged marriage. And it gets to the point where the father beats his son to force him to marry the girl that the father wants to. And it's not really revealed what the real motive is, because there has to be money behind it. You know that. There has to be a reason why they're so insistent to the point where they beat the son to death, that he marry this chick. So that's what's going on there. So, but this whole thing takes, I mean, and they get William Cecil involved in it too. And, I had an issue with that. See, now I kept thinking that this thing was going to happen, and it doesn't happen. It's happened 2 books in a row, but there's no, the end thing that I keep thinking is going to happen because of the other thing in the other book hasn't happened yet. So, Meg wedding. Big, huge wedding. They invite all these people to the wedding. They have issues with all these people, but they invite them anyways. And then they have the wedding. And then it turns out that this gentleman brings clothing. And the clothing he brings to them, these finely made jackets, were the jackets that his daughter was wearing when she died from, what was it, the measles? Oh, they called it the pox here. So, got an itch. So, and apparently, if someone was wearing this when they were highly infected and you put it on, the chances of you getting it are high if the clothing has not been washed or boiled or whatever. And that's how the guy was trying to spread disease. And he did. A few people in Ursula's household do die. And a few other people do die outside the house. So there's quite a few people affected by this whole situation. And, Miss Couch Potatoes back. It's just, there's just so much. And then when there's an Inquisition and Ursula and Sybil are put up against it, I'm sitting there going, where's her husband? Why isn't he here with her? Why is he not here? Her husband wasn't present for the entire thing, where his wife was on trial for her life. Literally on trial for her life. And her husband wasn't there. He's only a few miles away. Why wasn't he there? I don't understand. And it turns out later he was a little ill. But it doesn't really specifically say what was going on with him. And I keep thinking he's gonna pass away so she can pursue the Matthew thing. All right, yeah, Matthew's supposedly married, but what if he's not really married? What if it's a whole effing lie? And there's just all this stuff that I keep waiting to happen, and it hasn't happened yet. This book and the last book I read massively quickly. They went quickly. Now that I understand who everybody is, I didn't have to keep on my spreadsheets again because I know my Ursula, I know my Hugh, I know Sybil, I know Gladys, I know Gladys our witch, Dale. We really, Dale has become the least frequented person seen in these books. The least frequented person. Buckley is always front and present. He's always doing stuff for her. So there's stuff going on there. And she's forever being accused of, would you get out of there? Being accused of stuff. And their relation, Buckley and Ursula's relationship has been platonic since the beginning. But they've been together for so long that they do care for each other. But, I just don't, why the husband wasn't there for the trial just irked me. And all this Hatfield and Mccoy things, Ferris's, and, they out of my St. Patrick's Day decoration. Why this stuff was going on, it was so layered, and people were so creative, and they tried so many different ways to get at Ursula. So many different ways. The measles, the pox. Then, get this stuff. Then, we don't hear about it till it's after it's occurred. And I'm like, this is a small town. This is like a really, really small place. How can stuff have not spread? How could Ursula have not been told? How could her servants have not heard it from other servants? I don't understand what happened. So Ursula and her husband are friends with these ladies. And they have a younger girl staying with them, and she had a thing with the peddler, and she's with child. She's like 4 or 5 months with child. And Ursula and Hugh are friends with them, and they go have dinner. And while they're there, they find this suspicious book, and they're like, we have never seen that book before. It is not ours. It's incriminating. It could lead to stuff. So they burn it. At the same time, Broccoli's at an inn, and he discovers that his saddlebag has been tampered with, and someone put pearls inside. And then he goes back to the inn and goes, these are not mine. Someone put them in my bag. Please take them. And as he's returning them, this guy comes in and goes, someone stole pearls out of my bag, blah, 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 blah. And they start a big thing. And it was supposed to be a setup. He was supposed to be framed for stealing and thievery. Just like the ladies were supposed to be framed for witchcraft because they had this book on their premise. And it's later revealed that there were 2 books, and they only found the 1 book. And because they only found the 1 book, when the people said, oh, these people have this book. And these people have never been in these people's house before, but it's never questions. They're just totally, oh yes, absolutely, we'll go look. Because you said you're such an honest person, and you've never been in their house before, but you saying they have this book. So we go in, we find the book that turns out belonged to this other guy. Now how come they didn't burn this other guy? If it was his book to begin with, why didn't they burn him? I don't get that. The guy at the end says, it was one of 4 books from my place that went missing. Well, if you had these books, then why aren't you burned? But they took these 2 women and this young girl and hung them, all 3 of them. And I was like, why didn't Ursula find out about it? Why wasn't there an inquest? Why didn't the rumor mill come to them? Why was it happen so quickly and secretly that no one heard about this till after the fact? And 3 people have died for no reason at all. Because they were framed. And why did this sheriff guy, HERON, go along with it when it was his book? How could he have not recognized that it was his book? He says at the end it was his book. So what the hell are you burning these people because they had your book? Did you not know it was your book? And if it was your book, then what the hell are you doing with it? Why weren't you being burned? And why did you use your book being... I don't get it. I just don't get it. If person A stole the book and put it in person B's house and then accused person B of having said book, and you're the person in charge, you're the judge, do you not recognize your own book? Do you not recognize that it was stolen from your house? Do you not realize that somebody tried to frame these people? If these people have never been to your house, if there's no way in God's green earth these people could have known what your library looked like because they've never been in your house before, but these other people have, how do they know that the book is in their house unless they put it there? Why doesn't this judge think of these things? I don't get it. Is he so out for vengeance on his high horse that he just went with it? When it was his book! It was his book! He says it at the end. I don't get it. What's up with you, Smokey? I don't get it. So he hung 3 people because his book was found in their house. Never even said, how did my book get in your house? You've never been in my house. You would never know what's in my library. But these people, the accuser, has been in my house. So it should be obvious that they took the book and put it in your house. And why were they... Why did you hang these people? And this lady was with child and you hung her. The power of the crowd, the power of suggestion, the power of fear. I don't get it. Mob mentality, it still exists today. It still exists today. I've got a newspaper article. I did some indexing for a local newspaper, and I wish I had done it in my former residence, but anyway, because that would have been more useful to me. None of the people here are related to me in any way, shape, or form. But I did this indexing, and I came across this article. This woman was sentenced to hang because someone accused her of murdering her husband and taking his body and dumping it in the river. And they investigated, they questioned everybody, they made up these stories. And even some of her kids testified against her that they'd seen their mother kill their father and throw him in the river. And a couple of weeks later, the guy shows up and goes, I was looking for a house in North Carolina, and thank you for feeding my family and wife for a couple of months. Mob mentality. They were going to hang these ladies for the crime she didn't commit. So I don't get it. I just don't get it, what was going on with these Ferrisses. But it's just, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get the title either, Queen's Bounty. It was just Ann Percy doing this stuff. And where do these people get off? They think they're so powerful. But anyways, what we're going through today is just horrible too. But I enjoy reading books and talking to you about books. And escape real life. Go and do a book. We're up to 1570. This book is 1570. So we are moving along here. And I'm looking forward to book 11. Rescue for a Queen. I haven't looked at it yet. But one of these days, the stuff I'm waiting to happen is going to happen. Because the book 23, I know a little bit of the future. So I'm waiting for all this stuff to happen that hasn't happened yet. But we'll see what happens. But anyways, who knows? Who knows? I'm trying to think. I have no idea. I'm drawing a blank right now. Have a good day.